So I arrived in front of the immigration court judge. We were talking about 17, 18 years ago in 2005, 2004 or 5. Well, they kept me for 1 year, so I lost a year account of my life by at least, the 1 year that they took. But I'm glad that they took a year away from me. The immigration system in United States, the immigration run by the pinkskins, even if not by all pinkskins, the rules and regulations are pingskin rules and regulations. What that means is basically it's beneficial and forgiving of the pink skin, but it's unforgiving and non-beneficial to anybody who is not a pink skin. And the darker your shade gets, the less favorable the law, literally the law, beside the personal prejudices, literally the law at points in the history of United States, the history of Uncle Sam, literally the law was for one shade of skin against another shade of skin. Laws were written to benefit one shade of skin at the detriment of another shade of skin. On Earth in 20th century. So, and every time the question is, the pink skin sets down the law for everybody else. Even if he has to hire browns and blacks to become, managers in his operation, the pink skin is in charge. So all the laws are look favorable to the pink skin. And when the laws don't seem to be looking favorable, personal prejudices looks favorable to the life of a pink skin than to a life of a brown man or a black man or any other shades darker than pink. So I arrive in front of the immigration judge in the United States, and he says, "Yeah, what's up? Why you think we should let you stay on this piece of earth, under this side, under the sun? Why should us let you stay on this piece of earth?" And I said, basically my idea was, hey, I was born in a particular minority. I was born as a Zoroastrian in a particular minority basically everywhere, because we are such a small community that we are always minority, and there's and it's never fun to be minority. It's not even fun to be a minority in a individual based society such as the United States. It's even difficult here to be a minority, as we know. Minorities are used and abused, but it's even worse to be a minority in a society where collective is the norm. They don't look at life as their world in an individualistic manner. That's why they don't do democracy. They don't look at the world as an individual, but they look at the world as a collective. I went through this in another video that I basically the long end of it and short of it is that some parts of the world, especially pink skin dominated parts of the world, they look at the world as individually. In other societies which had a longer history of togetherness, and they all look alike more or less, they're more collective. They have a more collective mentality. They don't look at life as as an individual is not as important to them as the collective is. So in those societies, minorities even do worse, believe it or not. It's bad to be a black man in the United States. It's even worse to be a black man in, in a collective mindset of, let's say, India or Pakistan or Iran or Turkey. It's even worse to be a black man in any of these shitholes, because shitholes, as far as a minority concerned, is a fucking shithole, because where collective mentality rules, minority cannot be part of the collective by definition, because it's a minority. The collective thinks one way, the minority might think in other ways. So as much as it's not fun to be a religious minority in the United States, which is very easy to be a religious minority in the United States because there is some individual rights, it's really bad to be any kind of minority where there is a collective mentality running into society, and it's their history that creates that collective mentality. So I basically, more or less, I told the judge that, hey, I've had some personal issues with the majority Muslims. You can examine my ear. My eardrum was blown over some things I said that, Muslims, the majority, the collective didn't like. I was defending my religion in a military training camp. A few Muslims asked me why I don't join them for prayers, and I said, yeah, I'm Zoroastrian, I don't feel like it. I'm a different than you. And then somebody made a mistake when a few weeks later, when we were, shooting dummy bullets, and that mistake cost me my drum ear. And I guess I should be thankful that it was a dummy bullet, that it wasn't a real bullet. It could have just as easily been a real bullet. So, because I speak my mind, and speaking my mind, when you're a minority, defending yourself when you're a minority in a society where collective is the norm, collective takes offense, which is what it seems I'm doing over here. But anyway, at least there is some individual rights in the United States. There is that in error recognition, because of the history, the United States has valued individuals much more than has valued collectives. Again, so for all minorities, United States is the best place to be, or basically the Americas. This North Americas is the best place to be a minority, because the society is individual thinking, based on, they value the individual. Individual is important, and they value individuals. So being a minority is quite easier than the rest of the world. Even in European countries, being a minority is hell. If your skin looks a different color in an European country, then the natives are not very comfortable with you. The natives in Europe are rarely comfortable with each other. At least those places that I've seen, it's a very, very stiff society, and at least it's not a bad thing. It's very orderly and very nicely put together, but you're not as accepting as others. But United States, for others, United States is more accepting, more acceptable, more palatable. So I asked the pink skin judge, says, why you want to stay here, why you think we should allow you to stay here. The pink skin judge in the United States, immigration judge in the United States, tells me, why do you think we should allow you to be here? And you're thinking to yourself, what did I miss? Did I miss killing a couple of Indians? if I had done that, if one of my great grandfathers had killed a couple of Indians, then I would have automatically been given the right to remain on this land. Do I have to, do is the obligation killing Indians? That in my past nobody killed Indians, so I don't get to stay here automatically, be accepted here automatically. Your parents did and my parents didn't, and fuck, I'm screwed. So that's one way of looking at it. And the other way of then you come down to, it's like, I'm sorry, what gives you the right to say whether someone like me, an asshole like me, has the right to stay in a piece of land on earth or not? What gives you the right? You're obviously pink, you're not Native American, neither is the laws and rules and regulations that you are apparently trying to abide by, neither are those have been written with any consultation from any original inhabitants of this land. And you have pushed the original inhabitants of the Pinkskins have, Mr. Judge, have pushed the original inhabitants of this land, those that you couldn't push off into the sea, into the ocean. You have secluded them into little pieces of land, and have told them that if you want us to leave you alive, you sit in your piece of land and you don't move. You have jurisdiction over that. At one point, the tribes had jurisdiction over the whole state. Now they have jurisdiction over, 500 square feet of the land. Anyway, so you, the Pinkskin, have come and pushed them off the land, the Redskins off the land. Now a brown guy comes in and says, okay, I'm having difficulty living where I was born on this planet of yours. Please, can I stay in your land if I agree to abide by your rules and regulations? And in reality, since we are all born on this planet, we have the right to be on this planet. We have the right to choose where to be on this planet. We should. You can. The logical thing is to tell the population that those of you who are pink-skinned, stay on the upper parts of your, planet, because that's where it's beneficial to your fairness and to your skin, and you have less chance of getting cancer. Those who are brown, try to stay in these regions of planet Earth, and those who are black, stay in these regions of planet Earth. But yeah, you can do that, but then you, Mr. Judge, pink-skin, immigration judge of Uncle Sam, you also, you don't belong in Arizona. That's where I first asked to be given asylum in the United States, in Arizona. So the guy said, so you pink-skin, this is Arizona, it's 100 degrees outside, and you staying under that sun, in 5 minutes you're going to burn like a duck under that sun. And you're telling me that you're a native here, and you are telling me that I am unwanted here. Even if we go by the color of skin, which one of us can stand this bullshit sun heat for longer? Even by the color of skin, it seems I'm in the right region of planet Earth and you're in the wrong region. But the pink skin is sitting in front of me and telling me, no, you don't have the right to be here. I am the native here, and you're not allowed to stay here because just because we rule here, we pinkskins rule here, and we decide who belongs and who doesn't, and you don't belong. So, and that was it. The whole judicial session, a decision that was made that determines half of my life, or the decision was taken when I was, let's say, about 17, 18 years ago. So a decision that affected more than half of my life was taken by a pink-skinned judge in Arizona, which obviously his skin just showed that his skin does not match the environment. He didn't belong. If anything, he didn't belong into that environment of planet Earth. But he decided in a session that lasted about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, not more than that. And that was after, waiting for this, in being in jail. Basically, they incarcerate you in the United States if they feel that you don't belong on this part of the planet. This part of the planet was reserved for the pink skin. Well, they reserved it for themselves, or it was Bible, and it was Jesus had flown in, and as the Mormon have came up with the story of we are already here. There were Christians here. There were our buddies here. Jesus flew over here and made these Indians also Christians. So we have some kind of claim to this land. Folks, my pink skin friends, you guys, you come in. Australia. This is not just, it's not North America, it's not South America, it's also Australia. It used to be South Africa too. It is Israel right now. It's like the pink skins go in and say, we have some kind of claim to this land, and usually God is involved with this claim on the land. A God that, the other side probably doesn't agree with. This is not his God, so somehow your God told in your ear that this land, somehow belonged to you, so you can go ahead and eliminate the other semi-intelligent bipedals and then settle down and take it over, and then you decide that, who can come in and who can't. So, anyway, as a result of this 10-15 minute session decision that this judge, pink-skinned judge, made about my life. As a result of this, Uncle Sam, the judge, said, nope, we don't accept that you are a minority in your country and your life is very. There are discrimination, personal discrimination, legal discrimination, harassment. There are all kinds of, you're a minority in the society that is very collective minded. There can't be no bigger reason than I'm a minority in a collective society. It's like being the only capitalist in Soviet Union. You see, the capitalist in Soviet Union is sort of like, if you're very capitalist and capitalist minded, you're in the Soviet Union, you're a minority, so you come out. So how come they accepted all those capitalists that run out of North Korea and those minorities that used to run out of Russia, out of communism and into the open arms of capitalism? I'm not sure what happened. What's the difference? If there is somebody is a minority somewhere that the majority are collective minded and they're unaccepting of outsider because they're very fearful of outsiders because of historical reason. I don't know. There are all kinds of these reasons, collective history, and they're historically outsiders. If you're a tight-knit community, outsiders are usually not good news. Tight-knit community somehow gets along, but an outsider in a tight-knit community is always going to be looked with suspicion. So the immigration judge says, okay, nope, you can go back to Iran, fuck you. We don't want your kind here. We don't want your kind here. He didn't say that in such a words, but I'm just, translating we don't want you here. Why? Did the Indians wanted you here? How would you, a pink-skinned person who has never lived outside of the United States of America, has never, doesn't speak a second or a third language, for some reason you, a pink-skinned guy with a lawyer's degree, for some reason you have ended up in Arizona, some very small town in Arizona. Now, a pink skin with a lawyer's degree, I would think, would have a lot better places to go than some small town in Arizona, getting paid by the immigration department, just paid as a regular, regular, like an accountant job, or a very salaried and not very good salary in some small town, living in some small town in Arizona, although being pink and having a lawyer's degree. So there must have been something wrong in his past, or he's basically, he has something. He has accepted that low position in a judiciary system of Uncle Sam. That's not a major, that's not a step up for anybody. But he decided my fate. And you look at it and you say, okay, as a result of this, the first step after this was, the gentleman was, I was incarcerated for a year in an attempt to try to send me back to the shithole that thinks collective, and I'm not part of their collective. And thankfully they were unsuccessful in sending me back to the shithole that I came from. But I had an interesting life experience in that 1 year that I was incarcerated. And a lot of basically what I saw was very orderly, very orderly, but in its order, it was basically orderly discrimination. You could see it. You could see that there was like maybe, we were incarcerated. I was in a group. It was like a 4-pod unit. Each pod had a couple of hundred incarcerated people, and these 4 pods, we all went together to lunch, dinner, or for that 1 hour in the yard. Mostly we went together, these 4 pods of each couple of hundred people. We slept in 3 shelf bunk beds. It was like there was a 3rd floor. That was the first time I've ever noticed that there can be a 3rd floor in a bunk. The 3rd guy on top is basically touching the ceiling. He can't sit up because his head is very close to the ceiling. You got to be careful. But things that I saw was, as far as, is the system rigged? Is the pink skin, the laws are, this doesn't seem to be pink skin ridden, but somebody has to execute these laws. So what it comes down to is that all the time that I was there for a year, I was incarcerated, locked up for 23 hours a day in the pod. It's like a hangar, small hangar. You could park maybe 2 small planes in it, like a hangar. I saw very few pink skins as co-locked up person. co-imprisoned. Very few. We had, in fact, we had one Australian. During the 1 year that I was locked up, I came across one Australian and one guy from Sweden. And I'm trying to think any more white guys? No. One guy from Chile, he was very white. He was pink skin. He was pink. So, for 1 year, I saw maybe these 3 white folks. But then I saw a couple of thousand Guatemalans, couple of thousand Hondurans, couple of thousand, tens of thousands of Mexicans. And the reason was this, that there was like these few of us were there for a year or over a year. Maybe 20 of us, 30 of us at any given time were there for longer period than couple of weeks, because most these South Americans is close by and they're all, basically take orders from Uncle Sam, and they're willing, ready, and forced to accept their citizens ASAP. So they're sent back constantly. Others are changing, but the 20 or 30 of us who were there for a longer time, we were the only stable situation there. The rest were transitory, 2 weeks, 1 week, couple of days, couple of months at the max. And you see that. And why is that? Why is pink skin? Why is it that I only saw 3 pink skins during the year that I was there? And the reason is basically simple. And these 2 were like really, one of them, the Swedish guy, he wanted to return because he wanted to return to Sweden and he didn't want to pay for the tickets. So he basically turned on himself in. And the reason was simple, because when we talked, I was with him for a couple of months, so we talked a lot, and the Swedish guy was telling me that basically nobody ever doubted my Americanness. That's why I was using a forged social security number for a long time. He was in the United States for 20 years, I believe, illegally, a Swedish guy. Illegally in the United States for 20 years, and now he was like 65, 70, I think, and he told me he wanted to go back to Sweden because of healthcare. Sweden healthcare is free and good, and over here he was having difficulty with healthcare. But so he wanted to go back. He turned himself in. It's cheaper to go through the legal means. You don't have to pay for a ticket. But he basically said nobody ever doubted me that I'm not American. I had a social security I used a fake social security, and never. It's sort of like personal preferences results into sort of like, yeah, please, you look like a good person because you're pink skin, I guess, and you can come in and you can stay even if On the other hand, but the reality is something else. The reality is that pink skins don't require a visa from other pink skins. So Uncle Sam doesn't want, doesn't mind anybody from Sweden, Norway, Finland, England, France, doesn't mind anybody from these pink skin countries to come to Uncle Sam's land. It's sort of like, our land is the same, we are all good together, we are all the same, so we open up our lands to each other. And opening up our lands to each other has another meaning too. The other meaning is that our economies are going to be interdependent. So people living on this one, this or that or the other, they all would be living at the same economic level. So we're good. So nobody would be rushing in or rushing out. If they come, is because they come because if they got married to somebody on this side or what, for other variety of reasons. But the rest of you motherfucker, the brown and the blacks of the world, you have to ask permission from us, the pinkskins, to come into our land. We don't want you here without permission from us, the pinkskins. So the result of this is that what happens most of the time, this guy, this Swedish guy, as all other pinkskins, come to United States simply by buying a ticket. Just getting a passport, which is a ID, and buying a ticket. You get these two and you come to, if you're pink skin from a pink skin country, you get these two and you can just fly into the United States as a tourist, as a student, as whatever you like. You come in with just, with when they stamp your passport, with just that, you're allowed some 3 to 6 months to live. And during 3 to 6 months, anybody can find a job, or if they're inclined to fall in love and get married, or find a job. So basically, what happens is that you pinkskins are all welcome. You can come here, find a job, or get married, or start a family, for whatever, start a business, or whatever of all of these options. You're welcome. You come, you start, do your thing, and whatever options, whatever reason you give us, it's okay. We're going to give you a stamp, and we're going to allow you to become a permanent resident here in this land because you're pink skin. So the coming is so easy that the staying, if there is any legitimate reason for the guy to stay, he stays. Because he had, he was given the benefit of the doubt to come in, and maybe if he wants to stay and become a permanent citizen of this new land. If you're pink, the road is easy. But if you're not pink, the land of the pinkskins, as the Australians have done it, as the Uncle Sam has done it, as Canadians have done it, as the rest of the pink skin areas of this planet have done it, they basically say, no, if you're not pink skin, a Swedish can go to Australia without a visa. They just, buy a ticket and a passport, and they all show up. As long as their identity matches the passport, Australia has no problem with a Swedish guy moving to Australia. Not moving, just going there as a tourist and, falling in love or finding a job, or easily converting one type of residentship to another type of residentship, and eventually to a permanent residentship, and eventually to a citizenship. That's easy for a pink skin. The brown and the blacks of the world, the pink skins are saying, no, we have taken over the good lands on this planet, or as many lands as we could, eliminate the locals for it. And we want this land for us, the pinkskins. You motherfuckers are not welcomed. We don't allow you to come in here, in our areas, to maybe look for a job or start a business or start a family. In which way then it would result to your permanent stay, or then we have to, consider giving you another form of residentship on this piece of land. He said, no, because we don't want to consider to give you another form of residentship in this land, therefore we don't even allow you to get here. You gotta ask us permission, i.e. get a visa, and we usually don't give those permissions out. We don't trust you motherfuckers who are not pink. And we don't like you, and we don't want you to ever coming here and maybe staying, or we don't want that to happen. So fuck you. You have to get a visa, you have to get our permission, and we are never going to give that permission, so don't even bother. We usually don't give that permission. Don't even bother. We give that permission. If you can steal enough from your people over there, you monkeys, if you can, one of you is smart enough to steal from the other ones, or any of you that are just smart, you can come in. We let you through the back door in, and because we appreciate your skills. We let you in, and you can wash our toilets. So here in our pink skin land, we have brown and black doctors and engineers washing toilets. Our toilets are being washed by brown and black African engineers, or brown engineers, or black engineers, because you motherfuckers are not welcomed here. If we allow you in, you gotta have, or have stolen a lot of money from your people. Bring the money to us and you're welcome in. I'm sorry, folks. This is the reality. This is what I saw. That's how can it be that, and the reason for that, the Swedish guy, is that he, just like other Swedish people, he came with a tourist visa to United States, and he was staying. He could have easily, after finding a job, he could have easily gone and applied for work permit and extended stay and eventually permanent residentship, just by finding a work, something like that, getting married and whatever. But he got this opportunity, and most of the people that he knew, like himself, Swedish, went through the regular paths to finalize their immigration status in the United States, but he just didn't care for it, forgot about it, didn't care for it. I don't remember what was his reasoning, but he had the regular path to go through, which he chose not to, and he eventually, so many years has passed. I'm assuming that after so many years, he realized that, okay, I didn't go through the legal means, so let me find just a fake social security number and live with it. See what happens. He didn't. He was old, 60, 70 years old. He didn't seem very. He wasn't. To me, he didn't seem all there. All the screws were not tight there. But anyway. Or maybe in his younger days the screws were tight. In his older days weren't so tight. But the point is, he was one of the exceptions that didn't follow through what the legal means that was open to his fellow pinkskins. The legal means that are not open to a Mexican or a Guatemalan, or Guatemala. United States doesn't just issue visas to Guatemalans. It's like, what, you want us to give visa to go over there and start a family? No, fuck you, stay here. You're 3 feet tall and you're brown. We don't want you there, in that pink land. That's pink land. So, and it really brought back some. This came back because I read on the internet that Mr. Bill Gates owns so much farmland. Like the biggest farmland owner in the United States is Mr. Bill Gates. I'm like thinking, yeah, pink skin. So they literally own all the land. So the point is this, that the system, although it doesn't specifically write we are for pink skins, by pink skins, for pink skins, although it doesn't specifically say that, but by allowing other pink skins to move freely between pink skin countries, but brown and blacks are not allowed to move freely into and out of pink skin land, means that other pink skins welcome. If you're not pink skin, you're not welcome. You need a visa, permission. And we don't give those out. And if you do have a reason to be fearful or unhappy in those lands because you're a minority and they're collective and you're not welcome, you're still brown, you don't belong here. In the pink skin land. Oh. So, of these stories, I have a lot. But the whole concept of not accepting, so for the past 18 years, 19 years, basically it's sort of like, oh no, you don't belong in this land. This land is reserved for pink skins. And you don't belong here, and you be ready to move out anytime at our discretion. And you think to yourself, did I have a choice in not being born pink skin? Did I have an option? I didn't know I had an option of where I'm going to be born. I mean, if we all had an option, I'm sure we all would have preferred to be born pink, because you guys write the rules and execute the rules, and usually these rules are not beneficial to others who are not pink. These rules and your regulations are usually beneficial to the pink skin. The other pink skin that was with us, he was Australian. I was with him for a couple of months. He was Australian, but he was so dumb that, or stupid, I don't know this guy. He caught him for producing marijuana a couple of times. They let it go. Caught him for producing marijuana in couple of homes in a very industrial fashion. They let it go. Basically, he had a very, I'm trying to say, at the last time he was cooking, industrial scale crack. And apparently that was the last, that was that was the last it just, and every time, I mean, it was a criminal matter, and the cases in the United States is, if you do a criminal act and you have some immigration issues, the United States tries to get rid of you as fast as they can, because you have some immigration, you're not a citizen and you do a crime, and we're gonna fuck you. So they're really come hard. If you're a citizen, apparently, you commit a crime, we have to deal with you somehow. But if you're not a citizen and you commit a crime, we're gonna fuck you. But not if you're pink skin, because he wasn't a citizen, and it took him going from marijuana to industrial scale marijuana to crack cooking until Uncle Sam threw in the towel and said, "Yo, fuck you, we don't want you, go back to Australia." And it was like, it takes such an extent of criminality for a pink skin not to be accepted in the land of Uncle Sam. But a brown skin, even if he has a good excuse to be here, to want to be here, no, fuck him. Fuck him. He's not pink. We determine who belongs and who doesn't. We, the pink, determine who belongs and who doesn't on this earth. Even on this earth, I mean, when you see the pink skin still going to other parts of this world and still from outside going in. If you're going in from outside, I can't be, coming into your house with the banner of defending my freedom. I can't say I can't be in your living room holding a gun at you and telling you that I'm here defending my freedom, motherfucker. It doesn't work like that. If I'm if I'm in my house and defending my freedom is one thing, but going to somebody else's house and defending my freedom in their living room, it just doesn't seem right. Again, your leaders, my dear pink-skinned friends, your leaders have misled you. That misled you into thinking that you're fair, that your laws are fair, that execution of your laws are fair, that immigration is a fair thing to have, that immigration is fair in general, immigration into pink-skin land is fair in general. No, it's not. Taking over of the land was not fair. How can its immigration system be fair? Because its immigration system is, one set of people are judging and not other groups of people. The one set of people, the pink skins, are judging other sets of groups of people with different shades of skin, that whether they could be allowed to come to pink skin land or not, or stay in pink skin land or not. And you wonder to yourselves, like, okay, and you're in Iraq and you're trying to, the pink skins are in Iraq and Afghanistan and Somalia and Libya and Nigeria and Congo, and it's still a lot of pink skins all over the rest of the world trying to so-called keep the peace. How is that your business, my pink skin friends? The answer to 9/11 was not, we're gonna go, rip him a new one over there on the other side of the planet. The answer to 9/11 was, we're gonna shore up our security within our system to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. Our security. It's like when a tragedy like 9/11 happens, it's a failure of security. Okay, let's sit down and find out where was the failure of security. There's always going to be bad guys in the world. There's fucking shit all over. I got my eardrum blown not by a bad guy, but by a guy who fucking understands this much. There is loads of them. There is tons of them. There are boatloads of human beings who understand this much. Doesn't mean we have to go stick a dildo up every one of their asses, stick a Kalashnikov up their asses and tell them that, you behave or we're gonna shoot. You can, if it's very expensive, and it's not doable. Eventually the expense is gonna kill you. So the best way to deal with shit holes is, if shit happens, you find out what happened, where did the security failure happen, and you address that. Address your own security failures. You don't go take over some other shithole that is all liability and no fun. Their shithole is a shithole. That's why it's a shithole. There is so much shitheads in it that's why it's a shithole. All of it. Iran, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, the whole fucking thing. They're collective people, collective mentality with long histories. And no order. Not very orderly. There is no use of trying to, say that we are going over there to fix it. Fix what? It's fixed. This is its optimal format is how it's functioning right now. This is how my pink skin friends You got to look at this matter of other countries that are being run, however they're being run. That's however they're being run right now is the optimal format that system can be run, and it's a representative of the intellect of the locals. How much intellect do the locals have? They will form a form of government that will address their issues, or else they will change their own government. There is no need for any pink skins to defend anybody against anybody else in shed holes. There's no need for that. Their system has to naturally, organically grow if they're ever going to get anywhere. There is no push and pull in evolution of societies. There is no push and pull. You can't push it or pull it. You can, but it's going to go back to where it was. It becomes very elastic, and it will fight you every step of the way until you let it go, and it will go to where it was. And so the growth has to be organic. Slowly over time, growth in the shed holes, the social growth, that has to be organic. So if you have an issue with some shedhead from a shed hole doing some shady thing in your area, you have to secure your area, your own parameters, your own space has to be secured. That's why China has gone so much to facial recognition. They're basically trying to secure their land. Eventually, with such a high population and so many people moving around on planet Earth, our pink skins are trying their best to prevent that movement from happening. My pink skin friends, not all of you, but at least your leadership is very aggressive and very paranoid. And this results into policies that almost we had a nuclear war 50 years ago. We still may have a nuclear war specifically because I'm sorry, but 4 out of 5 declared nuclear power are pink skin. We include Israel, Pakistan, and India, which apparently, the British agreed for these old colonies to have nuclear weapon because of China. So you have 4 out of 5 were pink skin. Now you add 3, and 1 out of 3 is pink skin. Israel is pink skin. So you have 5 out of 8 right now are pink skin. The only non-pink skin countries that do have nuclear weapons are China, India, and Pakistan. So 5 out of 8 are pink skin. That tells me the level of paranoia is high, aggressiveness is high, and it's sort of like, no, we have this weapon, nobody else should have it. If they want it, we're gonna beat the crap out of them. And then when you come to pink skin land and you say, okay, they beat the crap out of me, can I stay here please? And the pink skin says, fuck you, you go back to your shithole. My ancestors killed to take over this land, therefore this land belongs to me. Your ancestors didn't do any killing, so you go back to the shithole that you came from, because you're not a pink skin.